Ayo, freedom calling, pick it up. Why you stalling? Pick it up. Is that your purpose? Pick it up. Hurry up, it's urgent. Pick it up.
Welcome to the Time is Ripe podcast. Time is Ripe is a digital journal podcast of Ripe Creatives. Ripe Creatives is a ministry that leverages the arts for the purpose of missions in Philadelphia and the surrounding region. Time is Ripe is hosted by Ripe Creatives founder, Scott Smith. The podcast features various guests from within the Ripe community or our extended family. Each episode focuses on a specific experience that our team hosted here in the city or an outside event where someone from our team was booked to perform. We hope you enjoy today's episode.
Sleeping, you probably in a coma. Try to make a hit, I made a homer. Christ gave blood, he a donor. Remove the weight from the shoulders. Hold up. Ayo, freedom.
What's up, fam? Welcome back to the Time is Ripe podcast. My name is Scott Smith, and we are back with another episode here on the Time is Ripe. Today is going to be fun. I think I say that every episode, but it's always true because we don't shoot episodes about nothing. We only pick things we really want to talk about. Today is really special because the date that we're going back in time to is actually a few dates in succession. We went to a place called California. One San Jose, another part Stockton. It took place over the course of a few days. The dates were February 5th, that's a Thursday night, through Sunday the 8th, with a special emphasis on Thursday the 5th and Saturday the 7th. And we are going to talk about this whole trip and how it came to pass, what happened while we were there, what we were doing, all that good stuff. Now, it was a poetry trip, so I do have the poets on the podcast. The two people who went with me to California, or I went with them, however you want to look at it, are here as my guests today. Both are returners. Both have been here many, many times, and both are fan favorites. AVG, welcome back to the pod.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
That's the energy we're getting to start this?
I don't think that was, I think it was chill, but yeah.
It was a little low, right?
Kind of.
It was a little low.
But
Let's try it again. AVG, welcome back to the pod.
What's up, y'all? How you doing?
Hey, there he is. We're leaving that in, too. The other guest on today's episode, I don't want to get smacked, so I'm just going to say she's part of the Right Poets. She's here. There's so many things, there's so many nicknames I want to throw out right now, but I know all of them are going to end up with a welt. So I'm just... Sergine, welcome back to the pod. How you doing?
Hey, y'all. How you doing? Thanks, Scott, for having me.
It's always good. Always a pleasure. Did you see the video on Instagram yet? The call out?
No.
Okay. Wait till you see it.
Dang, what'd you say now?
Don't worry about it.
That's crazy.
She doesn't know.
I'm glad I'm going to watch it after you're done with this. You play too much.
Oh, she's going to be so mad.
I can't.
Anyway, like I said, February 5th through the 7th, we went for a few days. We had a blast. There was special emphasis on two of those dates. But I would just say the backstory of this was Brandon Leake.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon Leake was kind of the backstory. Brandon Leake has become a part of our extended family, somebody that we love and adore so much, and has done so much for all of us as spoken word poets just by being himself and doing what he did with the winning America's Got Talent. Poetry's always been amazing. Brandon Leake kind of made it more mainstream. And we are all appreciative of that because we've all seen an uptick in opportunities to get to do poetry in unlikely places because of Brandon Leake.
Yes, sir.
We're a big fan of him. We like him.
Yes.
We enjoy his company. And he's sown a lot of wisdom into our crew over the last, 18 months or so. So back in August, I got to do a show with DTL, Dare to Listen. We actually did an episode about it on season 4 with Trish, and AVG was on that episode. Brandon was the feature there. And even before that, but especially at that time in August of 2025, he was talking about Inspired Voices. Come to my show in California.
Yeah.
It's February 7th. You got to come. You got to come. And I'll be honest, I was like, that's probably not going to happen because it's hard to justify a trip to California for just that when you are married with a child, right?
Absolutely.
In a different life form. Yeah, everybody should go to Inspired Voices in California, but it's kind of a big sacrifice to leave family to go do it. And at the same time, from that same show, mind you, DTL, I posted a video of seeds that poem that I did there, like a 5-second clip of it. My friend from California, Tyler Campbell, reaches out and says, bro, when are you coming to California? And I was like, never. And I was like, but random question, how far are you from Stockton, California? And he was like, we're an hour away. Why? And I was like, that's crazy. I might be coming to California then. And from there, it just became like an obvious yes, because it felt like God's hand was on, okay, one person's asking me to come to California, another person's asking me to come to California. They happen to be an hour apart in a very large state where nothing is an hour apart in California. And we can do this over the same 3 or 4 days. And so, there's a lot of other nuance to that story, but that was kind of my backstory to the California thing. Was like, I'd love to go see Brandon, but that's probably not going to happen. My friend asked me to come to California. I'd love to do that. Probably not going to happen, but both combined is why I decided to go.
For sure.
Now, I tossed it out to you two.
Yeah.
What was like the impetus for you to be like, yeah, I want to go?
I'll be 100%. I think we did like a set of audio messages. And in that, you were like, yeah, might be able to do like a show that my friend is setting up. And I was like, all right, cool. Like, I'm always trying to be outside. And then I completely forgot. So at some point, I was like, I'm going to support Scott and I'm going to support Brandon. And that was it for me. And then I got the reminder that like, yeah, there's an opportunity to perform and all that and whatnot.
I would say kind of similar. When you had mentioned it, I was like, okay, I definitely would love to see like Brandon Leake in person and see what he's doing there. But then when you also talked about the missional part of it, where we get to connect with Tyler and, you know, meet these young adults, I was like, oh, for sure. Like, count me in on that. Yeah.
So you remember that there was a show? You knew.
I remember that.
You knew that
I
part.
knew that for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because AVG, like, I will never forget that. Like, we're like, what, a week out from going? He's like, wait, I'm performing? I was like, yo, I'm about to fight you.
What's crazy is I reached out to him. I'm like, what night are we like performing again? Just to be sure on like the calendar.
Yeah, he didn't know.
Because I knew we were going to definitely go out to, you know, obviously see Brandon Leakes, but also support Red because he's a part of that production. And so it was just like, okay, this is a great opportunity to do all that. So I'm like, okay, but in the midst of that, like, when is the day that we're actually setting that time aside? Because I wanted to be intentional about that too. So
yes. Yeah, so and the person you're bringing up, Red, for those of you who've been on this podcast a bunch of episodes, you know who we're talking about, RedLion. But for those of you who don't, Charles lives in Houston, Texas. He was on the Inspired Voices show with Brandon Leake on Saturday, February 7th. And then he also drove from Stockton down to San Jose to where we were for the show on Thursday to be on the lineup. So the lineup for the Thursday show is actually the 4 of us together. And we love RedLion. He's basically a right poet.
Yeah, basically.
Without being a right poet. He doesn't want to be a right
affiliated
poet.
for sure.
He's definitely affiliated.
Yeah.
He's like in the gang. We should get him like a jacket or something. But no, we adore Charles, and we know Brandon because of Charles.
Yeah.
Right, because they're very close friends. Hence Charles being on the show on February 7th. Now, I would just say, I don't want to spend a ton of time on this, but I think the travel thing is really, really funny and is worth kind of explaining. So I was trying to minimize the amount of time away from home.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I picked planes based upon directness of flight and what time they left to fly in the same day as the show on Thursday, fly out immediately after the show on Saturday. And that was like what I was doing. You guys went a different route, and you went and got the like most cost-effective flights. Amen to that. Hallelujah.
Amen, amen.
And that's a good, wise decision. But, you know, for me, it was about balancing family stuff because I'm gone for 3 days.
Yeah.
And you guys had a layover. You were supposed to beat me there by about 18 hours.
Yeah.
And I think we got there at the same time.
Roughly.
So what happened, guys?
So you want to set the scene, or do I? I mean,
Please, ladies first.
all right. So basically, we got on our flight, and then
From Philly
to Texas. And so we got off the flight, and we're like, all right, well, let's go check out the gate first, make sure we get to the gate. And we both agreed. I was like, I'm hungry. He was like, you hungry? He's like, I could eat. I'm like, all right, cool. So then from there, we get to the gate. We made sure that the gate was there. So we were trying to find a location to see like what was the closest between the gate and where we could eat. And so we both settled on Fridays. And then we got in, sat down, negotiated on like, hey, do you want to split some appetizers? Sure, why not? You could take it from there. Them glazed wings slapped though. That thing was fire.
Yeah, we settled just a little too long, honestly. And that settling turned into a missed flight.
But to be fair, you were waiting on the receipt. Like, and we didn't know that like you could basically just like
pay on the QR code.
Yeah, basically. Scan the QR code and we would have been out.
That's it.
So like we missed it by like what, give or take like
4 minutes.
Like 4 minutes.
4 minutes.
Mind you, like
You're in Texas.
tearing them wings down.
The most expensive wings.
Listen. Chuckling over them dragon glazed wings.
The most costly appetizer in the history of TGI Fridays.
And we missed.
Really?
I'm saying your story, 18 hours.
Yeah, that was wild. That was so
I hear
wild.
that.
You know?
I hear
If
that.
it wasn't for the fact that I
Appetizer
went
$15
to,
or something, but it cost you 18 hours.
yo, I had to go over to I don't even know what to call her. The lady by the desk. I don't.
Yeah.
I was like, hey sis, look, what are we doing? Like, do we really have to like wait overnight? Because really, it would have been worse.
Mm-hmm.
We would have ended up staying like in the airport for probably the entire day up until maybe like 8 a.m, and then we would have caught a flight.
Yeah.
To where was it? Was it San Francisco? Yeah, it was San Francisco.
No, to San Jose.
San Jose.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
And we were like, hey, can like let us know like if there's anybody not getting on this flight to San Francisco.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys flew to a different airport than expected.
Yep. And then some interesting stuff.
We caught the joint
transpired
at like 8:30, so
yeah.
we waited like an hour.
It
And
was
what'd you do? Take an Uber from there to San Jose?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Jeez.
To go get my bag because my bag went
Your bag was
straight
in San Jose.
there. my bag landed exactly where it was supposed to.
It's like the opposite of everybody's like airplane horror story is that they get somewhere and their bag's
and they
not
can't.
there.
Yeah.
You guys, your bags got there,
It was
but
there.
you didn't.
I didn't. And I couldn't even, by the time we got there, I couldn't even get my bag.
Yeah.
That was the crazy part.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not even considering that. Yeah, they're probably closed now. It's late.
Yep.
Yeah.
Make sure you keep all your most important belongings in your personal bag.
In your personal bag, you
I
carry
agree
'em.
1,000%. They won't catch me slipping again.
Yeah,
I promise.
I did not fully understand
Listen,
how it happened, but it is a great story.
yo, the jet lag.
Yeah. So Thursday, the day that we have the show, I land and I'm like waiting for my bags at baggage claim. And you guys are just strolling through the airport. And I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
So it was
You
pretty
called
epic.
us and I heard.
You heard me
he's
talking.
in the airport.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys were there. And I was like,
Literally.
this is okay. We're all here.
Yeah.
Because I was supposed to go pick you up at a hotel that you were supposed to stay in the night before.
Exactly.
But we made it in time for the,
Yeah. Anyway,
There
so
it is.
after we got the rental car, we went straight to Tesla
Yep.
Yes.
because Tesla is where Tyler Campbell works,
Yeah.
and I know that there's probably a wide variety of, personal beliefs about Tesla and the owner of Tesla, right? On this podcast, I'm sure some people love him, some people hate him. But I would just say the factory is amazing. It was one of the coolest things. I was blown away by it.
Absolutely.
I was impressed. Now, like the nerd in me was like, this is actually really interesting. At first I was like, man, this factory gonna be whack. But man, we got there. I said, is that a robot? Like the kid in me was like, oh, this is actually really, really dope. And just to see how intentional like all the workers were, like they seemed really genuinely happy.
Yeah.
They love their job.
Oh yeah.
I was like,
I was like, because they're doing
yeah.
way too many tours for them to just be putting on a face.
that part.
Because there's no way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like blink twice if you're
Hey,
trapped.
yo.
You know? Yeah, everybody was loved. Like seemed really, really genuinely happy to be working there, and the technology in there is insane.
It's fascinating.
And our tour guide was amazing. Clearly, like that's what he does. And part of his role there is just give these tours like exceptionally well. I mean, it was funny because Tyler was like, "I'm sending you on this Tesla tour," and I, shout out to Tyler. I know you're going to listen to this episode. It didn't really feel like he gave us the option. Like it was an option, but it also felt like a hospitality thing of like, we got to be a good guest here, and he wants us to do this.
Yeah.
I'm so glad he pressed for it.
That's it.
Because it was such a good memory.
Oh yeah.
It really was.
And we got to drive one of the souped up Jiggity Johns that are crazy.
What was that? Y or X?
I have no idea. The fast one.
The fast one.
Whatever the fast one.
Rev
That's
that.
the one we had.
Rev that
It was
thing
like,
up.
Yeah.
driving a spaceship.
Yeah.
But that was really, really cool and really kind to set our. I mean, I think we all probably would have liked to be more rested doing it, but it was still super memorable. And then they took us out to dinner,
Yeah.
and that was also really cool. Shout out to them for just taking care of us. And then we got to the church, and Charles was already there, and he had driven in from Stockton himself separately, and then we just prayed and got ready for the night.
Yeah.
And we dove into kind of the young adults night at this church where we got to perform for these students. And it was basically like a normal night would look like worship and then a sermon, followed by maybe some Q&A or small group. This was worship and then poetry.
Yeah.
The four of us doing like a round robin set, like we've kind of become infamous for doing, is write poetry. So what do you guys remember about the Thursday night event? The experience and all that kind of stuff?
I mean, even before we got started, I think the thing that stuck the most with me was Tyler's hospitality. Like right even before we like ran the set, he was like, "Hey, here's a gift for y'all. Thank you so much for coming down and doing this." And in my experience, that's not necessarily something that you receive. If you could think of Tyler as a curator, like it's not necessarily something you receive from a curator. It's like hospitality in the way of a gift before you even get on stage and do your thing, right? Like that meant a lot to me. That's a very different and unique thing. So shout out to you once again, Tyler, for showing us hospitality in that particular way.
Yeah, I would agree. I think he was so intentional about being kind and like hospitable that like even when we got there and we were meeting, I was meeting a lot of the different like young adults. It was just a great experience all around. Like they were expecting us, and I felt like they came with open arms and like ready to receive like what we were sharing, which was our gift. Yeah. So that was like honestly one of the parts that I felt like was really memorable for me.
Something that I wasn't expecting, just based upon like even our set design. We designed a pretty long set because we were thinking we could get through this many poems and then still have time to do like a Q&A at the end.
Yeah.
We didn't end up having time to do that because it was front-ended with worship. And I just remember being struck by like the hymnody, right? Like these very deep, weighty hymns that are like theologically robust and beautiful, but so like opposite end of the spectrum of worship culture in 2025 or 2026, right? Like so different than our present day and age.
Yeah.
And I was struck by the level of engagement that whole room had.
For sure.
Belting out these hymns.
Yep.
Like from a pure place of worship with like no sound system, like a speaker on and an acoustic guitar and three vocals and a keyboard or piano.
Yeah.
But it just was like the most non-performative, powerful worship experience,
For sure.
Like even if somebody like a couple of hymns I didn't even know. I was like, I actually never heard this one.
I was like, this is new to me.
But they're, very beautiful hymns.
Yes.
But it was more than like, oh, I listened to those hymns and I enjoyed it. It was the experience of corporate worship.
Yeah.
It was like the people who are leading were so irrelevant because it was a corporate thing.
That's right.
Like we were all the worship leaders alongside of one another together in this room facing the cross.
Yeah.
And I just remember being struck by that because I just kind of assumed like, oh, they'll do a song or two and then it'll be us.
Yeah.
It was like, no, it was like 35 minutes of like hymn-based worship crying out to Jesus. And I was like, amen. I love this.
I agree. Like in the current times, it's really, really, really special to be in a situation where, again, as you mentioned, like the whole congregation is like united in worship, and whoever's up there, like might as well have been in the seats with us. That's really, really special in today's time.
I just thought about taking away everything you guys were saying and just being there in real time. It was just their reverence, like for God, just to allow him to move and to sing like to him, you know?
Yeah. 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 And I think that reverence piece came out even in the attentiveness to what we had to share. Because I do think like culturally we were different from what they've had. Like, I mean, Tyler even brought that up. Like, yo, dude, like I love your spoken word. Like, do you think, you know, these kids are going to like all this poetry? And I was like, I think we're all really good at this. Like, by God's grace, I think we've stewarded our gifts over time and gotten better and put the 10,000 hours in, right, with our craft to like get good at this. Yeah. So I think that they're going to like it. And I think we have an ability to like connect in any room. But we didn't have to work for it at all. No. And I think part of that was the pumping and priming in the weeks leading up to it, like showing our videos to them and talking about it and getting them hyped up for it. But like from the very beginning, they were just all in to every one of our pieces. And I don't even remember the exact flow. And I don't know if we should spend a whole lot of time on each individual poem because we'll be here for 3 hours. Yeah. But the set was just amazing. And it was so fun to do our set with Red.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that was a special, special treat.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely was.
Yeah, I mean, I think anything Red is on, like, gets to the next level, if not many levels higher, just with the presence that he has, the way he's able to connect with an audience. I think how authentic he is. And, you know, I think of him maybe more as a, like, external processor anyways. So, like, being able to translate thought to words very easily is, like, his thing. But being authentic, even with that, I think he does that at a really excellent level. He's just really dependable in that way.
Yeah, that's really an excellent point you make. I felt it was very seamless. There was very much an authenticity in the room when it comes to each of our gifts, and the way we were still able to flow like in unison. But they were receiving it in a way that it was like, okay, well, we hear each message, and they were taking it in our unique, authentic ways. And Red definitely just adds that, you know, special touch to it. So absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because we talk about it on so many of the Right Poetry, like tour or oracles or the Houston trip or whatever, like this overlapping set thing. Yeah. We spend a lot of time talking about these sets because we love it that much. Yeah. To where we're naming poem titles on a podcast episode. I'm sure the listeners are like, what does that even mean? What do you mean Mama made it, right? But to us, like, this is so much a part of our process now. And what has made it work is we are all very different. The 6 of us that are current Right Poets are all so different. Red is so different than any of us as well. Yeah. And so even though he's not a Right Poet and he lives in Houston, it felt like a Right Poetry set in that sense because he brings his own flair and delivery and tone and cadence that is just RedLion. Like there's nobody else kind of like him that performs the way he does. Yeah. But he's so different than the 3 of us that it just like really worked. Yeah. Nobody's going to care about this, but I'm just going to say it because you guys might remember this. Cars. Bar Heavy Jesus. That was RedLion's punchy one. Yeah. Organs, Furniture, Sergine. Television, me. Wordplay about my wife, Darlene. Mama Made It. Yeah. Anatomy of Purpose, RedLion. Trump the Report, Sergine. Bible's Closing, AVG. Joy. Yeah. Freed Agent, Sack Poet. Yeah. And then I think he made me come back up and do NFL or something. Yeah. He did. At the end. Yeah. So that's like 12 poems. That's a lot of poems to do for people who've never experienced poetry before.
True.
Like that's a solid 60 minutes of nonstop poetry.
Very true. He was not going to let you slide without doing NFL. He was like, you got to do this.
Yeah, because it was Super Bowl weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like, you got to do this one.
Yeah, it was funny.
I mean, I think we're able to do so many in one sitting because it's all so different. Yeah. Right? Like people, I mean, so much respect for people who can do like 20, 25, 30-minute sets and hold the room still. But like, I think it is extremely challenging for one voice and maybe sometimes one specific theme to be the thread of all the poems. I think at some point, if you're not doing that at a really excellent level, you can lose people at like the third or fourth poem, right?
Yeah.
But because all the poetry is different, like, there are kind of like threads through all the 12 and then connections and all that sort of stuff. But the tones are different, cadence, depth, like concept. There's so much different about each of the poems that you can listen to 12 and it doesn't feel necessarily like
Didn't feel like 12. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a palate cleanser every 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Wasabi or whatever. What is it?
The wasabi.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
When you get sushi.
Yeah, when
And
you get
ginger.
sushi, ginger.
Yep.
So you gotta take that ginger. They're like, okay, now I want to taste
In the
this
palate.
next thing.
Yeah,
It's like every time that poem ends, that's like it's a wash,
for sure.
and now it's a new thing.
For sure.
And honestly, like, I wish churches would pay attention to this, like from a preaching vantage point, because we do live in this like microwave culture.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying like you shouldn't preach for 50 minutes or whatever. If you're amazing at preaching and you got the message to share, the Holy Spirit will carry you through and keep the attention. But by and large, like if you could figure out how to do 3 to 5 minutes sermonette, punchy type points or whatever,
Yeah.
with different voices or different deliveries or like multimedia splitting things up.
For sure.
For the next generation, that is so helpful because they have been pressurized in a TikTok generation and a scrolling, short form video kind of world.
That's it.
And the same way that the generation before was sitcoms, right? And television. The generation before that was long form radio,
Yeah.
right? So it's like these things, these timestamps become shorter and shorter and shorter by generation.
That's it.
I wish the church would like catch up to realize, there's like value here
For sure.
of switching up the delivery system,
Yeah.
even on Sunday morning. I know nobody's going to do it, but I think it would help you a lot.
I mean, I
We've
think
seen the
what's-
fruit of it anyway.
I think what's interesting about that is it leaves space for, I've like people I know have talked about this. If you do the punchy, like 3 to 5 minutes, different voices, and then the actual interaction afterwards, like I heard this point, like let's flesh that out some more. Like there's more time for the deep interaction, maybe even Bible study after church type situation. If the sermon piece of the service is maybe shortened a little bit. Like you get people to capture the points, they stick in their minds, there are questions that come up. It's almost facilitated that conversation is going to happen afterwards. Not 45, 50 minutes, I lost whatever question I had 30 minutes ago, I'm leaving, right? Or go to the fellowship hall and it's other conversations being had, right? So I think, I agree with you. I think there's a lot of value in reflecting that aspect of the times within our church spaces.
Yeah. It's just 2 cents, we've seen it. Like we've done the poetry sets.
Yeah.
We've done the Q&A rooms.
Yeah.
And like we would get kicked out of rooms because people would want to stay that long. Like the janitors would be locking the keys
That's a fact.
because people don't want to leave.
Yeah.
Because they want to continue to have conversation about what they just heard and experienced.
That's it.
And I'm not saying that to toot our horn as like performers. It's just, I think it's the nature of the gospel is the power of God unto salvation.
Yeah.
And the arts have power
Yeah.
to cut through the noise. You combine those things together. It's like a little bit of a superpower there.
That's good.
We've seen it. And we've talked about this on this podcast, but just to reiterate it, I love Thursday night. I love doing it with you guys.
Yeah, it's great.
Tyler, thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tyler.
And making it happen, being relentless. He's been asking me for like 10 years. Come to California. It hasn't been that long, but it's been quite a few years. And I didn't even know that part of his story until leading up to this trip
Yes.
about how his testimony involved
Yes.
spoken word. It was at actually a poetry event within a conference in Pittsburgh that I actually facilitated at Jubilee.
Yeah.
Probably 13 years ago or something. And we had all these poets. Sam Jam was one of them, ironically. And we all performed spoken word poetry. And at that event, a guy gets on the microphone and starts testifying to who Jesus is. And that was the moment Tyler was overwhelmed with the Holy Spirit and got down on his knees and repented and believed the gospel for the first time and gave his life to Christ in a spoken word setting. So he's been so moved by this kind of world with the arts that he wanted to have us out.
Absolutely.
And I don't know if we're going to do it again, but I would assume that they would want to have us again. You know, I thought it was a lot of fun.
I love to pull up on them again. They were dope.
Yeah.
Shout out to you, Tyler. Friday was a bit of a waste, guys. Hanging out with these two.
Don't do that. Don't even do that.
We had fun being together. Our plans just did not work at all. We tried to do so many different things, and all of them were like closing when we got there. And we drove so far.
Oh, man.
We drove all the way to Oakland, California. And we didn't end up doing any of the things we wanted to do. But we ate good food and we came back.
Quality time, if that's what you want to call it. Like,
It was something.
great quality time. Yeah. I think energy was a little bit low too at that point.
Yeah, we were all cooked.
Yeah.
But something did happen Friday night.
Yeah.
We get back to the hotel. We're all pretty tired. We're all like emotionally just zapped. And we're like, man, just sit in a hot tub, disengage,
Yeah.
talk about life.
Yeah.
I think we were talking about relationships and stuff. And it was like a really wholesome, good conversation. There was like a couple of times where I actually had to turn off the bubbles.
Yeah.
Because it was hard to like hear each other.
Yeah.
Sure.
But we wanted to talk. And apparently a guy who's connected to somebody staying in the hotel overheard our conversation from the balcony,
Yeah.
reasoned that we were people of faith, came down
Yeah.
and joined us in the hot tub. And we probably spent, it felt like 3 hours. It probably wasn't quite that long
Okay. Okay.
because I was just tired. So it felt really long amount of time.
Yeah.
But it had to be at least a couple hours in that hot tub talking to him
It was.
about Jesus, about Christianity, about faith,
Yeah.
about church, about where he's landed on some of his views.
Yeah.
It was interesting to just be in that kind of setting.
For sure.
But he was like a Stockton historian
Oh,
too.
yeah.
What do you guys remember just about that whole interaction with him?
So it was really insightful because at the hotel, there was also, I believe, a convention with
Yes.
other Christians there.
Right. It was
And
like
so-
a Nigerian church or
Yes.
something?
And he had left, he had went to a service earlier that day. And he expressed that when we were there. Because as we were talking about relationships, you know, we're talking about like kingdom relationships. We're not just talking just in relationships in general, but the quality of it and what that looks like to be in one, and like some things you have to discern and like be wise in.
Yeah.
And as we started to talk about that, I think that's when it infiltrated to like his relationship with the church, the way the church sees identity and gender and all these different conversations around that, and even how they see relationships. And he began to just talk about even like his roots within like church and even within like Stockton, just all the history that he knows. And you realize how like, I want to say intuitive and informed he was in that area as far as like what he was saying about the history and like the richness of Stockton that I didn't know personally.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I remember you saying like for him to have like internalized all this history had to have some sort of like, I don't know who has read the book or not, but like the giver type relationship. Like
Yeah.
what do you call like an older historian that he's like been discipled by or like made his mentor that's just transmitting all of this information, right?
It has to be.
Yes.
Because
That's a
no
solid point.
20-year-old could ever know all this stuff.
He was, yeah.
Yo.
I was like shocked. I was actually really shocked. Even just when he talked about his creativity and just some of the things that he's done, the people that he knows, just the artistry, you can tell he's explored even different aspects of art.
Absolutely.
Like even then it was like, oh, he really knows. Yeah, he really knows his stuff. I don't even know how to put that.
Yeah.
And it was really fun to see him do what I tend to do, which is tell people about my friends. You know?
Yeah.
Like I watched that And I was like, this is such a redeemable quality in this young man.
For sure.
Where he's like, hey, have you ever heard of this artist?
Yeah.
No, we've never heard of this artist. That 11 people in Stockton, California. No. Like, of course not.
Yeah.
But he was so excited.
Yes.
Because to him, like, these are the best of the best. And I think some relationships shades that, but they were great. They were quality, fantastic people from what we could hear. But he like played all their music for us. Like, I've made a whole playlist of all of the people from Stockton's music. Like there's such a deep, entrenched, I want to see Stockton win.
Yes.
Which I think we carry some of that same DNA for one another.
For sure.
Within the context of Philadelphia or in the context of Ripe.
Yeah.
As a community, like we care about putting each other on. And it was kind of cool to see him do that.
Definitely.
In a positive direction there.
Yeah.
I was going to say, it made me think about how, like, when we're in the car and we go on road trips and, like, you always talk about the history of any other, like, state that we've been in, like Harrisburg. Like, all the historical stuff about, like, the landscape and how you shared about Stockton and, like, the factories and different things. And it kind of made me think about how when we were talking to the guy, I don't remember his name, but how you can tell he was like really trying to promote Stockton because there's all these other things that people may not know about it.
That's it.
Outside of just, the factories and different things like that. But this is a place rooted in creativity.
Yeah.
And the factories are like Amazon, right? Because you're basically an hour outside of major tech.
Yeah.
Like Google, Facebook, Meta, right? Amazon. Like all these major companies are in Silicon Valley near San Jose, where we were on Thursday.
Yeah.
Now on Friday into Saturday, we're in Stockton. And a lot of these people that work in those spaces call Stockton home.
Yeah.
And it's like, in some ways, the entire economy of Stockton is like bolstered by the existence of these massive companies.
Yeah.
But it's also like, it's its own world. Like going out, because we ended up leaving from there after that conversation ended. And I think we went to go get In-N-Out.
Yes.
And that was like a whole ecosystem of just like, wow, this doesn't exist very many other places. Like the entire community is out at In-N-Out at midnight.
Yeah.
With like these well-lit parking lot areas, really like almost hospital level lighting inside the restaurants, like really bright.
For sure.
But it gives this like, you're safe. All different types of people, all different types of lifestyles, everything going on.
Yeah.
But you're like, we're just all here eating In-N-Out burger at midnight. There's like 100 people outside in this tiny little like diner. And I was like, man, do you think about that's probably what it was at McDonald's in the 50s. You know what I mean? But it's like, it's not like that very many other places in the world.
Nope.
Stockton is just a weird, interesting, cool little place.
Yeah.
I think they have a good sense of community there. That's what it felt like to me.
That's what it felt like,
Yeah.
For sure.
So shout out to the historian and our conversations in the hot tub on Friday.
Yeah.
Jump into Saturday, just to kind of lean into the crux of our time in California. Obviously, our show is a big part of it, but we were all there to see Brandon and to see Red on that show as well.
Yeah.
As you said, Kendrick, Obi West, Lady K were all on it as well.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to even explain what it was. It was poetry, but it wasn't just poetry. Like, the crux of it was a symphony show. So it was hosted by the Stockton Symphony at the location where they play consistently.
Yeah.
And the way symphonies kind of work is, people like an orchestra, you have people who buy memberships for the year to support that orchestra, and then they do a show every month.
Yeah.
Their February show was this co-joint show with Brandon Leake.
Yeah.
And so, the place seats maybe 1,400, 1,200, whatever came, which is amazing for a spoken word event.
Yeah.
But also like 700-800 of them were orchestra people coming for the orchestra.
Yeah.
And it just felt like, this is such a good partnership between the arts thing.
Yeah.
Like it reminds me of Jaylene Clark Owens and what she's doing with the Wilma Theater.
Yes.
Where I'm like, that's so smart.
Yes.
Because you're getting spoken word poetry to a different audience.
Exactly.
To the theater crowd that they may never get it. And this was like, he brought spoken word poetry at the absolute pinnacle level including himself and then everybody else he had on the show, to 800 people that I think the symphony didn't even think they would like. They were like, our people are going to leave at halftime. Remember?
Yeah.
Like we got some insider information there that the symphony thought people were going to leave at halftime. They're not going to want anything to do with this poetry.
Yeah.
And it was a standing ovation for like an infinite amount of time at the end of the show.
That's it.
But that's the context for it. It was like symphony and Brandon. I thought it was amazing, but what I would love to hear both of your brains while you were there experiencing it.
Absolutely. So the first part of the evening, this is very interesting. Like the composer hears whales and then creates this whole set of movements around the sounds of whales. I don't know. I think it was an acquired taste, but I definitely enjoyed it.
It had absolutely nothing to do with inspired voices.
No.
Let's throw that out there. That had nothing to do with the rest of the night.
I mean,
at all.
Loosely, if you want to say the composer was inspired by the voices of the whales.
That's what they said.
Boom.
They said inspired voices, but the voice is the whale.
Yeah.
To justify the whale thing being the start.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah.
But yeah, it had nothing to do with the rest of the show.
Can I say that's a stretch? So I think what I took away from it, I think, it was beautiful to hear the orchestra do what they did creatively. There were different, I want to say, aspects of scenes and things that they captured, even down to Romeo and Juliet, which I thought was an interesting take. And then when it got to the show, I think that you could see a lot of Brandon's vulnerability in the way he created the scenes and the pieces that he did, and even just down to like the way even they had dancers, the way they came in. I think those moments gelled together really well, and I was like, all right, I see you, Arthur.
Absolutely.
The dancers was getting it. Shout out to y'all. But outside of that, even like the different poets that just played their roles, and I feel like they did an incredible job, setting the scene and setting the tone for the different aspects of his character that he was trying to like work through with God. So I thought that was like amazing.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I will say maybe getting into the mind of the like organizers of that like February event, I thought it was really interesting to choose Romeo and Juliet as this sort of like bridge for their regular audience to like receive this more contemporary poetry. And I kind of question why. I think there are examples of poetry that are much closer to our time and the generations that are their members, that we didn't need to go as far back as like, what would that have been, like 1700s? So I think, respectful critique, right? Like, yes, you might not have as much experience with this like really, really current version of poetry, but be more open to what it could be, right?
Yeah, I wonder if there was like, we are so prepared to do Romeo and Juliet. We know this show will sell tickets. We know this show people will want to come see. Us do Romeo and Juliet.
I see.
With the players from the Academy, because they had the whole actors and actresses there.
I see.
Like Sergine said. I wonder if it was that.
Okay.
It was like poetry, and we know we're going to kill this, and that's going to pull out our audience to be there for Brandon's show.
Point taken.
Like if you're seeing through a positive lens, it's like this is our best chance to get Brandon this maximum amount of our audience.
Yeah.
So it isn't just all Brandon's people coming to see the symphony
For sure.
and his show. So it was like a both and. I don't know. I wasn't
fair.
in the meetings.
That's fair.
That's my like believing the best, hoping the best take on it.
That's
because it didn't
fair.
make any sense. It definitely didn't make any sense.
Yeah, I did think Brandon got an opportunity to like contemporize like what creativity and theater and poetry and music could look like together, which I thought was a great merge
For sure.
of all of it. You know what I mean? Like we said, there was the poetry, there was dancers, there was music, you know what I mean? Which gave somewhat of a theatrical feel, but I think it was very authentic, and it was speaking to the time that we're in now. And that's what I felt the most, which I was like, yo, I know he got to be proud. Like, this is an epic moment for him. And it was inspiring, to be honest. Like, I was just like, for you to put all these moving pieces together, for you to write the way you did, and then for them to also write and come to the table being creatively with you and merging those scenes. I thought that was incredible. And I think the orchestra tried their best to, you know, navigate those scenes as well as they could. I just wonder what it would look like if they would have did it fully. Like that would have been
like lock in.
That's what I was
the whole
thinking,
show
like, yo,
should have been Inspired Voices.
Oh yeah,
Personally,
sure.
But again, this is so new. This was so out of the box. And honestly, as you were talking about it, the acting and the theatrics of Brandon's, the players thing and the Romeo and Juliet thing was probably their way of like, how do we make this palatable to our audience? Let's take them on a step of the players from the Academy acting out a really easy, not easy in the sense, but everybody knows this.
Sure.
Oh, we're watching a play.
Yes.
Then when Brandon does his, it's not so absurdist for our space.
That's fair.
Like, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt.
That's fair, yeah.
No,
And
that's
think that the
actually
Stockton
really,
Symphony was really trying to set up Brandon well. And I will say this, Brandon didn't go first. He went second. He was Act 2, which was like prime real estate for the night. He was the headliner.
Yeah.
They honored him with that.
Sure.
I think his show with a symphony globally would be unbelievable.
my goodness.
I actually made a post about it, and it struck a nerve with some people, like in a positive direction, where they called me and asked me about it. Like, hey, you went to go see that. You made a pretty bold statement that you think this show could change poetry forever.
Yeah.
What makes you think that?
Yeah.
And I was like, because nobody's ever done this before.
That's it.
Like, nobody's ever gone to this length.
Yeah.
I've seen jazz vocalists, Kurt Ellings of the world,
Yeah.
sing with orchestras and symphonies and like do that whole experience, and it is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I've never seen a poet do it,
For sure.
and Brandon did it,
Yes, he did.
For sure.
and did it well.
Oh yeah. I mean, as you were talking, it jogged my memory on street hymns being able to work with an orchestra. Was it in the UK? But I don't think it was to like that level of production, right? So like still really expanding what it looks like for poetry to collaborate well with a whole different like genre even, right? Like, so yeah, I wonder how many people are like now strongly considering what it looks like to develop a truly extended set in full collaboration with a bunch of different creative gifts.
Yeah. It's funny because I think we've heard this progression within the poetry community of like, all right, you're an open micer.
Yeah.
Now you do a feature.
Yeah.
Now you write a book.
Yeah.
Now you do a tour. What do you do when you've done all these things?
Yes.
Cyclically.
Yes.
4 or 5 years in a row.
Yeah.
How do you elevate the thing that you love? You take risks that nobody else is really willing to take.
Exactly.
And like you said, I mean, shout out to Street Hymns. And there's a whole project out, I think, with some of those pieces. And even did some of them with the recorded tracks on the tour, Poets in Autumn.
I see.
When that was still running. But this was different. This was not just, this was an entire show.
Exactly.
And he also had a band
Yeah.
and a choir.
Yeah.
So he had a band, choir, the orchestra, other poets,
Yeah.
and then dancers.
Yeah.
And it was like some skits kind of involved, not like corny skits, but real acting
Yes.
involved. That poem, whenever he's in the hotel room with all the crumpled up paper.
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
my God.
Oh, but if you think
yes.
about it, maybe that's where, and I'm about to reach, and normally I don't, but maybe that's where he ties in the whole Shakespeare thing in the beginning. Because if you think about who Shakespeare was, he was very poetic in nature, right? But then he also created these screenplays and these writings.
Sure.
So maybe that's kind of what they were trying to introduce the rest of the audience who's not familiar with Brandon Leake or what he was trying to create in that moment.
Yeah.
That's my reach.
Okay.
But like, I think like, honestly, it was, I was like, yo, it really is putting, like you said, spoken word on the map, but it's like broadening like the ranges so people know where they fit in.
Yeah.
Because some people may be poets, but they may be different types of poets. So I think it was giving room like for everyone. Like it gave a space, and it also gave a space for creatives, if we're being honest.
That's good.
Like it gave a space for creatives to have room to use their gifts.
Yeah. In a space that those two things would never normally coincide.
That's it.
And it was God-led. It was like spirit-led. So you
That
can
is
see
where I was
that in the
gonna land.
room. I was about to say, like, that was the moment, like at the end, I was like, oh, like it was palatable. It wasn't over the top. It wasn't like overly preachy or like sermon-like. But it was a good message. It was a message about personal development, character, and qualities and things, which I think a lot of people
And the voice of God.
Yes.
Hearing God's voice.
Yes.
like, man.
Yeah.
And like not knowing if the voice you're hearing is God's or not. Like it was really raw.
So good.
And very vulnerable.
Yes.
I mean, you said that earlier. Very honest, very raw.
Yeah.
It was very emotional. We got interviewed after by like the documentary thing, and that was, you know, what did you take away from it? I just said thank you for preaching the gospel.
That's it.
Like embodying the gospel. Like that's where my heart's gonna always end up. Like from a litmus test, like, is the Lord pleased with this?
Yeah.
And I felt like that was an overwhelming,
Yes.
like the joy of the Lord. Like it felt like he was so pleased with what happened that night.
That's it.
Because it was such a pure attempt to make Jesus known to the skeptics and the agnostic and the searching, and may or may not have any connection to faith or Jesus. But they heard it that night in a really, like you said, palatable way.
For sure.
It wasn't like over the top down your throat, but it was real.
Yeah.
It was kind of a like, do what you want with this invitation. So I was just proud of, grateful for Brandon's diligence to not let that be missed.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like it's clear in the last 5 years, Brandon's faith has gotten even more important to him.
That's it.
From winning the show to now.
That's it.
That it's like, man, there's like one thing I really want to get across to people.
What's that?
And it's this God that I love. You know? So, yeah, kudos to you, Brandon. It was amazing. Before we wrap up the episode totally, I know this has been like a lot of narrative and us reliving our emotions of the space of Stockton and San Jose, California. Just want to ask, like, overall trip, what was kind of your takeaway? Why did God send you to California?
That's a big question, Scott.
I was gonna say that's loaded. That's definitely loaded.
I mean, I've said this a number of times. I think being able to like be on vacation and just be focused on poetry, amazing to me. And I think we're all so busy with poetry plus everything else that having a couple days to let those things kind of not be part of our lives in that same way, I think allows for much more intentional connection and like talking about what's going on in life, right? And I think that's just the lives we're living right now is like adults. There's so many things to handle. There's family, there's, you know, what you want to do with your skill set, your gift. There's the job that you're, you know, trying to level up in or maybe keep or whatever it is, right? Transitions. And it can be hard to like make intentional space for connecting with the people that you've come to know and love. But yeah, being able to like get away from it all and make that very much so the focus plus poetry, always important to me.
That was a deep answer. No, but I agree. I share the same sentiment. I think if anything, the first thing I think is like, oh, okay, like this is us being in purpose, being intentional about sharing our gifts where we're supposed to, wherever we're called to do that. That's the first thought. And then I'm like, I get to do that in community with y'all. And y'all are growing on me. Let me stop. No, for real. Like, honestly, I think that that's a good piece of like us getting to kind of touch base on other aspects of our lives and like not just the giftings, but who we are as a person. And I feel like I have learned to lean into that in a way that I think is beneficial and definitely like healthy, you know?
Yeah.
So if anything, I feel like we get to know each other more. And on top of it, I think it also helps us to be more like prayerful and discerning outside of what we are doing and using our gifts, but actually seeing each other and saying, okay, you know what? Like as they're doing this and as they're going out here or they're doing this event or doing that event, you know, and like you always text us in the right community chats about Breakaway and stuff like that, but we get to hear your heart about it. I also think that, you know, when we sit in the car with you, you know, you talking vision, like you're talking vision. And I think it's a beautiful thing too, because we get to see your passion, but also your heart for it. So it's like, okay, then we also know the why of why we get behind a lot of the things that we're doing as well, not just to like, you know, be seen or do this, but it's like, oh no, like we know the heart behind like a lot of this vision and ideas, and we get to share our own as well. So
Yeah.
I think that's the beautiful part, the best part for me.
Yeah. I mean, the word I'm hearing from both of you in different ways is like friendship. Like that.
Yeah.
There's a difference there.
That's what that is? No, I'm playing. I love y'all. It was a joke. Like,
Are we going to have another Messiah
that's
Texas
crazy.
Roadhouse moment?
Yo, he called. Never mind. We're not going to, because we're going to go off track if we do that.
I think if you boil it down, yes, we all love each other and are good at poetry, but we really care about each other as people, not just as poets.
Yeah.
You know, there's a verbiage in the poetry community of like poet friends, right? And sometimes people will blur lines to where they're poet friends, they think are their real friends, and then when like stuff gets crazy or hard, and then those people disappear, like, oh, well, you weren't out at the shows.
That's it.
And I think we have shown a different picture to folks, like, because our relationship isn't based upon an artistic gifting.
Yeah.
Our relationship is actually based upon a cross that we all know we need.
Yeah.
That allows us to like know we're loved and find our identity not in the things that we do or even in one another, but to like really genuinely care about each other and like reconcile when there's an issue or talk something out whenever there's a frustration or a hurt point. And like love covers over these things, like real friendship, you know?
Yeah.
I think our community has been really special in that regard.
Most definitely.
Overall, but especially within like the right poetry. And that's like why I always press to like, we need to invite more people into this thing because I know how special it is. And I think there's a hesitation at times to invite new people in because there's a concern about how it might change that.
I hear you.
All right, I hear your heart on that. Okay.
You know, more people need to experience this.
For sure.
Of course, and I definitely think I could say for sure, like, I love y'all. It's been a lesson. This is recorded, so it's a sentimental moment. Take it, don't and run with it. But no,
On repeat, just rewind 15
go
seconds.
back to this.
Let's 15
later
seconds back.
and remind me what I
15 seconds
said. No, but no, I think you're absolutely right. Because if anything, Scott, you've been a brother and you've just checked in on me. Maybe you've been a brother, you've checked in on me. Greg, he's slacking a little bit, but he does what he can. I'm playing. Jayla has done the same. Jake, whenever I see him, he's intentional. So I really do value that. I think there was a season where I needed to be seen. I mean, hence that's why the piece that I have, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for me, that really resonates as much as I do joke and I use sarcasm as a emotional defense mechanism, but we're not going to like, you know, do that, break that down right now. But outside of that, like, honestly, you definitely have a point there. We get to do community and life together, especially when we come for our family nights. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Just relationship. And then the other one that I had, which is like going to the Tyler thing. It's like relationship is what is always the door, you know? Like Brandon's relationship with us compelled us to want to go all the way to California to see him.
Yeah.
But also like relationship with Tyler for me, but now for all of you, you all have that same level of access that I do. But that relationship is what got us across the country to do poetry for 150 people that we've never met before.
Yeah.
that don't know who we are.
Yeah.
Somebody else curated a space. It's kind of crazy when you think about it.
That's real.
Like, we went and did Pass the Mic together.
Yeah.
We saw the effort that it took for Sam Jam to put Indiana together, you know?
Yes.
And so, like, to be the receiver of just, like, somebody else's audience is really, really humbling.
Yeah, it is.
Like, that level of trust is just different.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just, like, relationship is what does this stuff.
Yeah.
And even with that, like, the partnership side, right? Like, financially, California is not possible without the people who give and support our ministry.
That's it.
And so into it so that we can go step across the boundary. And I'll just use this last thing as like an anecdotal story, but it's not anecdotal because this was like a lesson for me. The California trip was very expensive for Ripe Creatives. And I was like kicking myself pretty hard about it because I think I had a higher level of expectation around us getting to pitch Ripe Creatives partnership at the event.
Yeah.
And we didn't because we performed really long,
Yeah.
right? Worship was longer than I expected. Our set was exactly the length I thought it would be. But we didn't do the Q&A time that we really wanted to. We did, but it was like 3 questions.
Yeah.
And the hope was in that Q&A time that we would like tell everybody how to support Ripe. And that might be the difference maker fiscally for that trip. And that didn't happen. And I was beating myself up. And I kid you not, like while I was having it out with the Lord about it, like literally that wrestle, I get a message from a guy from a church that had nothing to do with California, but was from a previous meeting. A pastor sent out an email saying, hey, if anybody wants to meet with Scott, here's his information.
Yeah.
Here's his newsletter. A guy didn't want to meet up with me, but wrote a check. And the check was for $5,000. Right? Never met me, never had a conversation with me, never seen Ripe Creatives in action outside of the connection to the person who's a part of Ripe that goes to their church.
Yeah.
But has never interacted with our ministry outside of a sheet of paper. And while I'm like, God, what was I just doing in California? You know, spending these resources. Yes, that didn't provide for it, but God provided for it, right? Instantaneously. And it was just like, we need that $5,000 gift like 20 more times, right? But it was a reminder of, like, God does not think the way we think. Like, he is not concerned about the things I'm concerned about. And he just wants us to go be faithful and go do the thing we're called to do, you know?
Could I frame it this way, even saying like as we're giving our gifts, he's generous. Like he provides generosity from other people.
That's it.
Like as we give that, he finds ways to be generous in other ways, whether that's monetary or whatever, whether that's community, whether that's friendship, closer bonds.
Yeah.
But he's still generous he's generous as we continue to give our gifts.
Yeah.
Yeah. We never outgive God.
Yeah, that's good.
So yeah, it had nothing to do with the trip, but it also had everything to do with the trip because it was a part of the wrestle in the aftermath of the trip. I was just like, hey man, California. It was provided, like it was covered.
Yeah.
Jesus knew.
Yeah.
We got to go do this thing. I'm really, really honored that we did.
Yeah.
And thank you for just saying yes. Like I didn't expect any of you guys to like say yes to coming to California.
Oh, really?
You guys were
Okay.
like, yeah, let's go.
It's gonna look.
Y'all already know I'll be outside.
But yeah, I was like, cool. I was like, look, we out. Now that layover now.
Yeah, don't miss another flight.
Nah, not for them dragging.
Don't miss another flight.
Glazed wings.
But thank you to all of our partners, not just the person who gave $5,000.
Yeah.
Thank you to that person too, but thank you to everybody who's given $10, $100, $1,000, $10,000 to keep Ripe Creatives afloat. Your generosity is what enables us to even do this podcast. So we honor you and thank you for that. That's why we do this podcast, is like literally to say thank you to you and to give you a thing if you want to listen to it, to give context for what we're doing with your resources and what stories we get to tell. So yeah, thank you for partnering with us. Sergine, AVG, thank you for going on this trip. Jarrett, thank you for all you do. and, producing, editing, releasing, all that good stuff. And of course, while we were in California, just like Houston led to Oracle's California while we were there, AVG started the Pass the Mic 2.0 tour. Mm-hmm. So now it looks like we have to go on tour in 2026 because of California.
Yeah.
You're a jerk. AVG on trips just turns into more work for everybody else.
As long as I don't got to eat Mexican food all week, I'm all right.
Hey, yo.
Nah, y'all were tripping.
We'll see what happens with that.
It's too many tacos.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Yeah, too many tacos. Mm-hmm. Until next time, y'all, stay right.
Ayo, freedom calling, pick it up. Why you stalling?
You can learn more about Ripe Creatives and support our ministry by visiting our website, ripecreatives.com. To never miss a future episode, you can join our community text line by texting Time is Ripe to 215-273-3540. Time is Ripe is produced, recorded, edited, and released by Top Mop Productions. We hope you enjoyed today's episode.
I know you've been searching, pick it up. I know you've been searching.